hatred of
Do you think
white
homosexuality is
people.
wrong? Do you think homosexuality is wrong?
I think there's a problem with pride, for instance, which is the promotion of homosexual degeneracy, I'd say, and also it's the fact that we have this massive pride event everywhere, and yet we're not promoting heterosexual relationships.
I agree, but
what the hell is going on there?
Well, they changed it. They called it gay pride. They called it gay pride, and then they changed it to pride, didn't they?
I mean, I personally, I don't want to be intolerant of it, but equally, I think overall you need to promote heterosexual relationships in your culture, and also strong masculine and feminine roles, because if you don't do that, then you don't have a future, and that's the problem as far as I'm concerned. Like if we take, let's say that everyone in the UK goes along with this ridiculous crap that's being forced onto us by the globalists. Let's say that everyone becomes homosexual. How long does the culture have until the population is zero from that point in time? The answer is 80 years. If everyone turns gay, then your country has 80 years before the population becomes zero.
Could you turn gay?
Hey?
Could you turn gay?
I'm not gay, no.
No, I said, could you turn gay?
No, I wouldn't want to.
So why do you think everybody could turn gay then?
I think there is a problem with. I mean, the fact is, like, if we look at, for instance, what they're doing with primary schools, where they're trying to introduce all of this talk about sexual degeneracy and homosexuality there. I've also, in my talk earlier, spoken about, I saw this, it was at this music festival last summer, and I saw this woman dragging her 10-year-old son along, and he was doing all of this. He had loads of glitter in his hair, and he was wearing all of, like a tank top, and he was like mincing around. And I was just thinking, hell, even back in the 1990s, this shit wasn't happening. We weren't using kids as science experiments the way we are now.
Do you think everybody
And I think there's a huge problem there. I think it's inconceivable. But I use it as a thought experiment.
Do you think it's possible? A minute ago you implied that everyone might turn homosexual.
I use this as a thought experiment.
So you don't believe that everybody...
I don't think it would happen, but I think it's just important
Mr. Speaker.
to...
Sorry to interject. I would say that, allow me, Leon. I would say one of the problems that I feel in the world right now is overpopulation.
Yeah.
And the best way to depopulate the world rather than drawing blood will be the promotion of homosexuality.
Right, I think with the overpopulation problem, what you need to do is you have improved technology everywhere, because then that reduces birth rates in Africa, which is one of the major regions where the overpopulation problem
Not just in Africa, even in India.
In India as well. Yeah, I think it's a
India,
it's a
in China.
technology issue, and it's an issue of slowly bringing more capitalist economies to these regions. And I think in terms of governance, the best system we have is libertarianism, and that's where we need to be moving to.
That's what I class myself as, a libertarian nationalist.
Oh, yeah, me too, yeah. I believe, I promote libertarianism, nationalism, and traditionalism.
Less government.
I think, if you want to just reduce government everywhere, because what we've seen is that it's a corporation, just like McDonald's, just like Amazon, except it's 10 times worse, because it has central banking money and it has tax money at its disposal.
But back to your question, I don't think we're overpopulated as a planet. I don't think so.
The other thing I think we need to do is to get rid of uncontrolled mass immigration, because I think that also, globalism.
The root cause of that is immigration.
It's the globalist
It's
mindset,
doing away with
isn't it?
borders, saying that foreign people can settle in their foreign lands, right? And then it's just got worse and worse. And now we've got 200 people a month coming on Calais on the boats. Yeah, it's an epidemic.
I think the problem is not immigration, but illegal immigration.
No, immigration.
Not immigration, because you have people with great skill set.
if you have
I didn't say they didn't have
country.
great.
No,
Yeah, so the problem is not general
can I
immigration,
just
isn't it?
answer?
Illegal immigration is what the problem is.
I think you're
But if you look
absolutely
at
right
NHS,
here. I think that if a country has sensible immigration policy, and if it has anything below net immigration, so the number of people who are leaving is the same as the number of people who are coming in, or the number of people who are coming in never exceeds the number of people who are leaving, then that's a good deal.
You don't agree with borders then? You don't agree with having borders, do you?
I don't believe in a North Korea version of immigration where nobody gets out and nobody gets in.
No one
I
said
don't
that.
think
No
that's
one
a
said that.
sensible
No one said
immigration
that. No one
policy.
said that. I'm talking about permanent settlement of foreign nationals.
I don't
That's
mind
what
that.
borders were created for, to protect the country.
Yeah.
I
I don't mind permanent settlements of foreign nationals.
So you don't agree with borders then?
No, I agree with borders.
That's the total opposite of a border, what you just said.
Right. Yeah,
A
but
border was created for certain tribes to protect their land, to stop foreign nationals settling permanently in their land. Just like I don't agree with people, foreign nationals going to Nigeria
that's one particular
or
policy.
Bangladesh.
That's not the only policy. I slightly differ from you in this, in that
But look where it's
I'm
ended
fine.
up. Look where it's ended up.
Yeah, because
of
it's
that
become
policy.
a mess. It's because it's become a mess.
Well,
I'm fine with
once you
people
do one person,
becoming
now you've got
immigrants
10 million.
to a different country.
Look at
but what
America.
they need to do,
Look at the
I'd
USA.
say, is that they need to. I'd say you just need a proper initiation ceremony, and someone needs to actually become part of that culture. They need to pledge allegiance to the flag, and they need to say, this is what I am now. I give up all other flags and I join this country as a permanent citizen. And I think there needs to be some other initiation ceremony involving some element of danger and pain.
But once you
that would be my personal suggestion.
Once you let a handful in, then the rest of the world, like, well, those went there, I want to go there.
Yeah, that's the problem with uncontrolled mass immigration.
No, but the root cause of that is immigration.
I don't have a problem. You know, I think your thinking does lead to the creation of North Korea. If you have a problem with all immigration,
So how would you solve this immigration problem right now in the
What
UK?
you're saying is led to the caravan in Mexico. That's what you're promoting.
No, I think globalism actually directly led to the caravan in Mexico. I think the main, from what I hear, the main supporter of that is George Soros and the Democrat Party, and also the main supporter, well, it's the EU over here, and also, again, it's Soros's Open Society Foundation who are promoting this ridiculous illegal immigration invasion that we're seeing to Europe now. And generally, if you look at the left-wing media, we're also seeing all of this anti-colonial attitude, anti-culture attitude, promotion of the idea that any person who sticks up for British culture or British history is a white nationalist. You know, because apparently people like Shakespeare were white, so if you promote the heritage of Shakespeare, that makes you a white supremacist. Because that's obviously what you see if you go to Stratford-upon-Avon, you know, to watch a Shakespeare play. All of these white supremacists everywhere, sitting in the audience, watching these Shakespeare plays. I think it's ridiculous that, there's this constant attack by the left wing on people, certainly in the UK, all over the Western world, who promote the culture of Western societies. You know, saying these people are white supremacists, racists, Nazis,
They're inciting
alt-right.
hatred. They're inciting hatred against the people.
Yeah.
By calling someone Nazi, racist, fascist, you're inciting other people to attack them.
I mean, it's a ridiculous labelling strategy, and it has absolutely nothing. It means you can just ignore the argument and instantly other the person.
All those terms, homophobic, fascist, racist, they're all like, to target other people and get them attacked, verbally or physically.
Yeah.
That's why they do it.
I think it'll be a massive shame over here in the UK, and I'm seeing this happening now. If we see because what we're seeing now is increasing dominance of Islam. And so, over time, this religion is becoming more and more hegemonic. It's becoming larger. It's growing everywhere. And we're seeing the failure of the British people and of Western society and Western values here. And I think this has been a complete disaster. And now you're seeing a whole load of women walking around wearing niqabs, you know, wearing these ridiculous cult uniforms. I think it's disgusting. I think women who wear these niqabs, it's exactly the same thing as Ku Klux Klan uniform, as the white hoods that they wear. The only difference, as far as I can tell, is that the niqab wearers don't have the pointy hoods. But in all other respects, it's exactly the same.
There's people in this park linked to the Ku Klux Klan, you know.
Linked to the Ku Klux Klan. To be honest,
the Nation of Islam. Have you heard
Yeah.
the Nation of Islam?
I have,
They are connected to the KKK. KKK have done a few deals with them.
They also seem to. I saw one of their guys kind of dressed up as a Nazi as well. So I think they do like to promote all of that as well. The
Nation of Islam.
Yeah, it was literally the leather jackets of, you know, the
I
kind of SS troop, the leather jacket. And I was like, you're just actually emulating the Nazis.
But there's certain people in this park, they keep accusing people of being linked to the KKK, when the Nation of Islam have done deals with the KKK on multiple occasions.
Okay, I mean, just getting back to my point, I just think it's disgusting that in Islam, you know, we're seeing all of these women wearing these vile niqab, cult uniforms, these ridiculous hoods where all you can see is just their eyes. And for me, it's exactly the same thing as the Ku Klux Klan. You know, where the hoods that they were also part of the violent
When do you see someone walking around with a Ku Klux Klan outfit?
I never see that.
Well, there you go.
I mean,
It's not the
in
same then,
movies
is it? It's
and in computer games, that's pretty much the only place I've seen that, because people would be attacked if they wore a Ku Klux Klan outfit. They'd be arrested. But apparently, we don't arrest these women who wear niqabs. And I don't get it. I think it's exactly the same. I mean, the other thing we see is I mean, not every Muslim believes this, but there's a massive problem with, you know, certainly as promoted in the Hadiths, and this idea that Muhammad married his bride Aisha when she was 6 years old, and then consummated the marriage when she was 9. And so what you see there is the promotion of paedophilia. And, you know, like, I mean, that's ridiculous. We have a decent Christian religion, but why the hell is that element of Islam being promoted here? Like, if, you know, I'm aware that not every Muslim promotes this idea that Muhammad consummated the marriage with Aisha when she was 9. Other Islamic sects, you know, have a different interpretation of what happened, that she was older at that time. Fair enough, but, you know, I do not want the promotion of paedophilia here in the Western world, in the UK, in 2018. And, you know, if we look at a lot of the Muslim rape gangs who have been going around, who have been raping these girls in the British care system, they are drawing on this ridiculous, you know, Hadith-inspired Sunni Islam promotion of the idea that Muhammad consummated his marriage with Aisha when she was 9.
He said that Aisha slept with a girl when she was 9. Is that true?
I'm completely... Yeah, well, some Muslims promote this.
I don't check there. In Islam, when you have a nikah, the marriage, being alone with the wife, after that, when you sign it's consummated, doesn't mean they had sex. Are you Muslim? So you know that's not what various Muslims believe. I'm aware a lot of Muslims don't believe that, but some do. Also, to be honest, I have spoken to certain Muslims here in the park who have said directly that they believe that Muhammad fucked Aisha when she was 9, and that they support it too. I've heard Muslims here in the park say exactly that. It's not a secret. Some Muslims believe this, and it's a problem. It's a massive problem.
you know, this is not a post-enlightenment religion. If it's promoting paedophilia, what we're seeing is the promotion of a disgusting cult.
1920 when they had actual physical.
Yeah.
If you want to know the exact
if you want to promote that,
19 or 20,
I'm fine. Look, if you want to promote that, I'm on your side, okay?
This. No. When he left Mecca on his immigration, he emigrated for 13 years.
Yeah.
His wives.
Will you acknowledge that not all Muslims believe that?
19. Sorry?
Not all Muslims believe
These are the
that.
ones that are married at fucking 6 or 9 years old, shagging they're pedos, yeah?
Yeah.
Mohammed Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam, if he was a pedo, why then was his wives 1, 2, 3, 4, so 11? Why is 19, 150, 125? A pedo, if you catch a pedo, yeah, look at his phone and his laptop, he's got boys and girls all over the shop, yeah? You're like, before Mohammed, yeah? Where's your proof that he shagged her at 6? Where's your proof that he did it
What
at 9?
I'm saying is that some Muslims believe this, and I think initially you seem to have the same conclusion with your first statement, but then you've asked me why I believe it. So I think you believe that some Muslims also promote the idea that Muhammad shagged Aisha when she was 9. Some Muslims do promote this. I think it's a problem, and I think it's a problem that needs to be stopped. It's a massive issue with Islamic extremism. The other issue that we're seeing is the problem of the Islamisation of the United Kingdom. And to me, the failure here is, it's our immigration policy, and also it's our inability to stand up for ourselves as a culture. We've just weakened our culture so much, and we've allowed the radical leftists to do this, the globalists to do this, to the point where we think, our culture doesn't mean anything anymore. And that's the whole multi-culti idea. It's all about the promotion of other cultures. It's not about the promotion of your own culture. The fact is, you need to promote your own culture if you want it to survive. You cannot say that your culture is insignificant. You need to promote it to ensure that it has a future. And I think it would be a terrible thing if Western society falls, because I think it's the greatest society this world has ever seen. Hell, I look back at the British Empire, and I think back then, as people, as Brits, we had a hell of a lot going for us back then. We were sending people all around the world. We were, going on expeditions to the North, to the South Pole, to every corner of the earth. We were engaging in massive engineering and architecture projects. We built the canal system, we built the rail system. I mean, the Germans may have had the edge on us in terms of the automotive industry and that revolution, but we did a hell of a lot at that point in time. And what the hell have we done since? What's happened in the last 60 years? We've become increasingly feminised, and now we put all of our money into healthcare and into paying single mothers money so they can raise illegitimate children. That's where all of our money goes. The welfare system, and the healthcare system. And it's like we need to start putting money into engineering projects, into science, because it was all of that stuff. That's what actually made Great Britain great. It was the fact that we put all of this money, all of these resources into these wild scientific projects, into these exploration expeditions. It was the fact that we went out, we conquered new territory, and we developed new scientific ideas, and we worked out new ways of, engaging in the world. We developed all of these systems, and there's a hell of a lot of expedition work that still needs to be done. I think if the British Empire was still going, we'd be a spacefaring race by now. We'd have spread out into the solar system, and we'd have developed nuclear fusion. And I think that's the direction our society needs to take. We need to get our ambition back. We need to become an ambitious country again, an ambitious culture again. And yeah, generally, I'd say the underlying ideologies I promote as a sociologist are traditionalism, the bedrock of any society, nationalism, a society's ability to sustain itself, to sustain its culture over time, and libertarianism, the promotion of the free market into every area of, into every field of human endeavour. But I'm going to stop for now, so thank you. Cheers, guys.
So don't say I know you're not saying he's a paedophile, but you do understand the contract. He let me migrate with him on record. You're not filming.
I don't know what he's doing.
Is he filming when I was chatting over there forever?
You weren't filming this one is.
Is that a cut? Is that a wrap?
That's me done.
You
This
understand
is
though?
what's this? Is this one? Oh, okay.
He just went to his class.
That's the bike lane you're speeding in.
You don't mind us continue broadcasting?
No, you can, yeah, you did last time, you did a lovely job for it. Content on everything. So, now my friend covered a lot of things, and basically we are anti-feminists. I'm going to get someone close. You're allowed to stand on the cycle track, by the way. You know, if somebody hits you, then it's pedestrians first. So, yeah. I haven't got a crowd, so... So when are we going to get more politics spoken about in Speaker's Corner and less religion? There's always been religion spoken about in Speaker's Corner. And 2018 has been a big year for Speaker's Corner, what with a lot of the violence and global fighting on the internet and people putting up things with his hate, threats of violence and all the rest of it. Last Thursday we had not this Thursday, the Thursday before, we had a meeting with the police in the Royal Parks, which was the first time speakers have ever actually had a meeting with the police, and it's in the history of Speaker's Corner. So it was quite a special thing. Personally, I think the meeting was a little subverted by communists who tried to make out that everybody was just racist when they wanted to discuss some of the violence that we've had here. And
Sorry, just a quick question. Was there a genuine outcome of that meeting? Do you think that it was actually a good meeting to have, or because like some of the other people attended the meeting I spoke to, a lot of them reckon it was actually a waste of time because there wasn't a genuine outcome?
well, because it was a historic meeting, it was the first meeting, and we were subverted by two communists, a young one who's naive and an older one who I call the laughing clown, because I remember him being here before. And if you know anything about communism or Marxism or cultural Marxism, you'll realise they subvert everything. And he was able to tip the meeting on the head by saying the real problem here is that everybody's racist against Muslims, which is not true, because I've spoken to Muslim people all the time. I have leaflets to do with domestic violence that affect men and leaflets to do with getting legal aid for men in divorce, and I've given them to Muslim people, I've given them to lots of people. So it's not about racism, it's talking about the violence that's been here in 2018, 2017 with extreme people.
Would you agree that the reason why the violence has escalated this far is due to the number of recordings and the YouTube views,
Yes.
rather than anything else compared to the previous years?
Yeah, but the thing was, there's been a lot of bullying in Speaker's Corner in the last few years by more extreme Muslims who tend to attack moderate Muslims, and I've seen moderate Muslims attacked by extreme ones here. So the thing is about Speaker's Corner, you can come here and you can upset people, you can challenge people, But if someone comes here and they say you're not to talk about this and you're not to talk about that, then they shouldn't be here.
I totally agree.
And there was a court case recently where someone complains, made a court case about what someone said, and the judge said, well, basically, this is what Speaker's Corner's here, you shouldn't have been there if you didn't want to have to deal with things. Hate speech, which is now, everybody says hate speech is this, that, and the other, whatever you say, that goes against the norm of what our society says you can and can't say. No, that's not hate speech. Hate speech is when you point someone out and try and get them off to hurt them, or you're saying things on a very personal level. Disagreeing with a politics, disagreeing with a religion is a different thing. This is not normally my topic. I'm an anti-feminist. Over nearly 5 years ago, when we first came here, we used to get a lot of absolute hell from people because they thought we were anti-women. Now, feminism's an ideology. Women are people like men. And a lot of our best speakers are women. And we're sick to death of the ideology of feminism and what it's actually done to men and boys in the Western world. And Paul Elam, who's one of the great people, one of the great leaders, he's not a leader, but he's one of the great spokespeople in our movement. And he doesn't speak for people, he actually speaks for himself and for men. And he calls himself a voice for men, and now it's an ear for men where he actually speaks. And he was reading a very well-written article written by a man talking about when he was 15 and on a school roof with all his mates drinking wine and laughing and talking about their future. And this man talks about how he was absolutely ruined by going through the education system, which blames everything on boys and men and masculinity. And it says in our society everything about masculinity is demonized. Now, so many of our school teachers are the worst examples of this. They think that men should be more like women. See, men and women complement each other. Not all men and women are like that. You get masculine women and feminine men. Nothing wrong with it.
If you look at toilets these days, they don't have baby changing.
There should be baby changing
for male toilets, yeah. But they don't have it in male toilets these days.
There's a lot of things we don't have for men, and we just overlook it. And we have a lot of issues which men face, from domestic violence, for example. A lot of people laugh when we talk about men who face domestic violence. Yep. It's not funny.
Or rape.
Yeah, or rape. We have that.
That's section assault under section 4 of the section offences act. You're not allowed to.
But we have so many things. It's affecting women. Not that we always go on to women, obviously.
Do you think that's fair?
Because men value women more than we value men, and women value women more than we value men. It tends to be the men at the top that we all want to value, the ones with loads of money, good looks, or big fast cars. Most men aren't like that. Most men don't have great power. Most feminists are the academic, the political feminists. Most of them are extremists. They're not nice people. They don't like men. A lot of them ape APE. They pretend to be masculine when they have none of the virtues of men. Most men give. Men adore women, they always have adored them. They adore their families. Men and women work together. This whole patriarchy theory, which talks about that men have held women down since the dawn of time, is a load of rubbish. It's not the case. Now, what's the term I'm looking for? Men have not exploited women since the dawn of time. Some men have, but men have been exploited as well, and a lot of women exploit men, especially in the modern divorce courts, which absolutely exploits men right down. And it's unbelievable. And the judges, they get taught about gender and domestic violence, and the Duluth model, which is the base of domestic violence, and it's fraudulent, by the way, from the town of Duluth. That is where judges get to hear from these feminist academics who are experts in gender, who tell everyone about what men and women are all about. And it's rubbish. These people are extremists. The feminist lens, I call the feminist lens cap. You need a binocular. You need to see from a man's point of view and a woman's point of view. And most of these upper class women have no understanding of masculinity. They don't understand the responsibilities that men have. They don't understand the way men think, which is different. Men and women complement each other at best. And what's happened is we've had men demonised for so long, boys demonised, And now boys and men are confused, and we have MGTOW now, men going their own way. They're sick to death of women. They're sick to death of a lot of young women in the way they treat men, and they use men, and they can just treat men how they like. No, we don't like men treating women like that, or anybody with half a brain wouldn't. You don't treat people like that. But it's justified because of the patriarchal theory saying that men have always exploited women. Men haven't. When Queen Victoria took the throne, going back into men's privilege, only about 2 or 3% of the blinking population had the vote, and they were landowners. And women had decisions they could make as well, but they were rich women. Most people were not landowners, they were peasants. In the First World War, 44% of the men in the war did not have the vote. And they gave their lives in horrendous conditions. When the suffragettes, if you watch the movie, they say they're the heroes. They are not the heroes. The suffragettes were the ones who did the legwork. And the Fortune Society is now what's left of it, and that's actually feminist. That's basically just what the suffragettes were like. The suffragettes did not want the vote for working class women. They didn't want their maids or their cooks getting the vote. They wanted votes for women who are rich. And there was a 10-year gap between men and women of a certain age getting the vote. It's not that plain. This here says it's written by an academic talking about the biggest movement for people getting the vote was for the men getting the vote, not women. But the suffragists knew that men should get the vote first and then women are brought in. And you've got to remember, men got the vote, but they had to have conscription as well. Women never got that. But see, there's complementary differences of men and women. And men and women face different things, and there's advantages and disadvantages of being a man or a woman. The one thing that's with feminism is respect. And the one thing they really don't understand is biology. Men and women are the way they are for a good reason. And not only that, men do things which are unpleasant, but women also do as well. It's not just toxic masculinity, there's toxic femininity as well. The men's rights movement was there in the 1800s, trying to deal with the alimony scandals of rich women ripping off men. And it never went far, as the men's rights movement doesn't tend to, because nobody cares as much about men. We call it the empathy gap. Most people adore women. We care more about women. There's a biological reason for that. But we need to start caring about everybody. And men have different needs to women. And having classrooms with feminist teachers degrading the boy, I've got something written by a feminist.
Where did you get that idea from? Do you believe that? You do? So where did you get the idea from? Why do they believe this? They just believe anything that's thrown before them. A new name in my block, new game on my block, is a guy called Gustave Le Bon. He wrote in 1870, 1890 about the proud mind. Because I'm fascinated with left-wing and right-wing thinking. My view is that he says everything's emotional. Everything's emotional. He said that logic thinking is better served in research. Well, I'm not quite sure about that now. That's been my objective. But he talks about the last war. The last war to him was the Napoleonic War. And he's French, so he talks a lot about the French and about the proud mind and how it works. And I'm going to an audio book in a minute. I want to buy the book as well. But he was read by the Russian No, keep going. Hegel? No! Who was shooting everyone? Lenin, he had meetings with Winston Churchill. Stalin read, I can never remember, bloody name. Stalin read, apparently read Le Bon. Hitler read Le Bon. And those people read Le Bon because he was a deep researcher, 200 pages, I think, something like that. And he put down in a book, doing what I've been wanting to find out here for a long time. What is the difference between the left and the right mind? We know their emotions.
We know that now with science, very clearly. So now we understand the science of
At United Cabbies, TFL destroyed our trade with their scaremongering tactics, and now they want to fine us too. Absolute outrage. At Brian Kemp GA, wow, maybe cranky evil queen should be banned. I'm already over her tantrum. I can't wait till my toddlers are old enough for us to go out without them. Boo to her! That mummy needs a nap, a sedative, and a time-out. At Miss Roxy. At Ivan Dronovich Drago. I'm offended that at The Walking Dead is not yet introduced a character who is a handicapped person in a wheelchair. This is the 21st century. At Tracy Lynn 86. I am outraged at the prices for at Pink's tour. I was hoping to take my 8-year-old, but I'm not paying more than my mortgage for a one-night concert. At Kawak 3, hashtag outraged. My at Uber driver tacked an $80 cleaning charge. Did not get sick in car. Did not spill anything. Did not so much as leave a fingerprint on the window. The ride was less than 7 miles from point A to point B. Am I the only one to think / notice that at Tesco's has reduced Poppadom's size, but not their price? Finger up in the air, thinking emoji. At Paul DDD Daughters, a former hashtag TFL board member has sparked outrage after calling 3 suspected hashtag graffiti artists killed after train stuck them in South London. Common scum. Brian Cook also branded men criminals. Hashtag transport, hashtag think, hashtag World Cup, hashtag trains, hashtag Tuesday thoughts. TFL destroyed our trade with their scaremongering tactics. Now they want to fine us too. Absolute outrage. At Mad Delaney 1, meetings after 4 p.m. should be banned. At Ken McClavely 22-4, all weapons should be banned. In the Middle East, especially to Saudi Arabia and Israel. At Awakened Gay, I'm fine with it being legal, but I hate that the smell comes through the walls in my apartment. Smoking should be banned in apartments, but they're not in Ottawa. Cannabis smoke triggers migraines for me after Casey 625. Fast food commercials should be banned from the gym. Palm face, woman symbol. They're making me want a burger so bad right now. Emoji, drinks emoji, hashtag to be good. My Facebook's own editorial stance, the Atlantic Council should be banned. It is a money-driven influence business built on misinformation on behalf of its https://m3f0/t.com/m3f0zr1avv at Yadala Levine. There's a difference in hate speech and free speech. Crazy Louis said anti-Semitic hate speech. He should be banned, but he is a liberal, of course. At Twitter, we'll protect him. At Gavin McShooter1. Girl, I don't know, but I should be banned. LMAO. At Cedric's. Circumcision should be banned. And we need massive government funding for tissue regeneration to regenerate our foreskins and to make our bodies whole again. At Gregory McCulloch. Unpopular opinion, Smoking in public should be banned, man. Or smoke somewhere where there is no people around. At Street Eva 11. People who refuse to pay their taxes while they self-finance their campaign should be banned from running. Those who openly advocate for illegal and unconstitutional actions to steal elections should be banned as well. https://t.co/v/VOBPY5DFJ Hashtag Gapol, hashtag Galgok, hashtag Teacot, hashtag GA First. Done all the tweets now. There. Comes right out your stomach, that. So we're doing a project today reading out the tweets of the day. The tweets that read should be banned, the tweets that read outrage. The tweets that we've collected are reading out at Speaker's Corner on behalf of the people who sit behind keyboards and just type them out themselves. The views expressed are the ones that we found, and not necessarily mine.
No one you prison now. All right. We love that stone.
No, right. This is what? I think we've got enough to like
why you love her, yes? That stone is stone from Turkey. Okay? And let's do this. Okay. Absolutely. Okay. Look, as interesting. Brother, look at this. Brother. Yeah. Okay, brother. Listen to this one. Brother Alex, listen. This Christian Catholic, his Bible, 73 books. This Christian Orthodox, his Bible, 81 books. This Christian Protestant, his Bible, 66 books. Which one of you is the true Christian? Real, which one? Which one? Look, three Christians. Our religion, brother, look, excuse me, look, three Christians standing near us. And all these three Christians, they have different Bibles. Why? Answer the question. Is your Protestant Bible better than your Orthodox? Okay, are you Catholic? Okay, are you Catholic? Okay, are you a Christian? Are you a Christian? Yes. Okay, are you a Protestant Christian? Are you a Catholic Christian? Okay, you want to hide somewhere. Okay, left to you. Yes. Okay, sir, are you an Orthodox Christian? Yes. Hey, Christian, come back! Catholic! Come back, man. Hey, come back! How many books in your Bible? You know why?
Let's go. Unfortunately, the police will tell us off on that one.
The video.
Rode mic, shotgun mic, for your live stream. Battery. No, he's got a cable everything. Oh, okay. But when you're walking around. Long one. The long one. Oh, this one. Oh, the Pro Dive. Yeah, I know. And he said, yeah, have you got the lens?